What is the deal with land trusts? Did I do a good job with my Jerry Seinfeld impression?
No.
No. Anyway, that's today's episode. Let's dive into it. Hey everyone, I'm Clayton Morris.
I'm Natalie Morris.
And what is the deal with passive income? That's what we're talking about on today's episode. Cash flow.
I think it's like that. It's like, what's up with that?
What's
like
up? First of all, he doesn't even sound like that.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't say, what's up with that? So what's up? What's the deal with land trusts? That's what we're going to talk about. If you're new to the show, or if you're not new, this is the show where we teach you financial education. The vehicle that we use to create financial education is this show, our podcast. And the thing that we use to get there is cash flow with buy and hold real estate. So we buy properties, 4 walls and a roof. We create tax shelters. But there's all of these different tentacles that are involved in creating wealth. We just did a live show, and man, we had so many questions. People were like, okay, should I set up an LLC inside of this LLC? Should I buy a land set up a land trust to buy my properties? How do I set up my bank accounts? How do I do all of those things? So on today's show, we're going to tackle one of those questions specifically. What is the deal with land trusts? What are they? Are they smart for real estate investing? Should you even consider doing it? So is that a good way to sort of set it up? What do you think?
I think so, yeah. And I guess I didn't realize that there are kind of sharks out there who will hold these seminars and talk you into really expensive land trusts for a couple of reasons. One being that they offer an amount of privacy, which maybe some people want, and it's cheaper than maintaining an LLC. But there are a lot of reasons not to do this. And so I was reading up on it over the last week or so, and I think that I'm not going to say you shouldn't do it, although if you read Garrett Sutton's book, The Loopholes of Real Estate, he's a very experienced real estate attorney, and he's saying definitely you shouldn't do it. But if you do enough homework, I think you will think that this is a pretty crap idea.
So now, over the years, I've had friends in real estate tell me, I think you should do, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put this property in a land trust. So because I want
Why do they say that?
Well, I think they want to protect themselves. They want to keep the ownership private, maybe, so that you don't, for instance, like maybe Donald Trump, right? He might not want you to know that he owns this restaurant, right? And
yes, he does. He puts his name on everything.
Right,
that's
but
his thing.
I'm saying, what if there's a backlash, right? And he's like, you know what? I want to make money off this restaurant, but I don't want people to not come eat here because they don't like me. So I'm going to hide the fact that I own it, right? And I've heard people over the years will buy bundles of land. Remember Lex Luthor in Superman, the first Superman movie, where he was buying up all that land out west because he was going to bomb California, And so Lois Lane went out there and she's like, who's this mysterious person buying up all this land, And
right.
So buying up all that land and doing it and frankly, that I believe that's how Walt Disney did it in Florida when he started buying up all these orange groves. He started buying up all of these orange fields, but he was buying it under different names and in land trusts, so people didn't know that, wow, all of these orange groves are being bought up by some guy, but instead it was being bought up by multiple land trusts, I believe. And then of course Disney World was the end result of it, right? So I think that's why you might consider doing it. I don't know. I can't think of another reason why you'd want to.
Well, I think the selling point on a land trust has to do with protection of your identity. But a land trust offers no protection of your assets. So if I bought land in a land trust, what that means is I hire somebody else to hold title like a trustee, right? But if something were to, let's say I own an investment property and I put it in a land trust, and then my tenant goes out and trips on something that I failed to fix, right? I'm still liable for that, no matter what. Even though it's owned in a land trust, it's still owned by me. They are eventually going to find out who owns it and sue me for it. Also, I find it so odd because in most states, the law states that when you rent out a property, you have to, by law, give your tenants your name, address, and phone number of who owns it, because you cannot ditch out on them. So they need to be able to reach you no matter what. Even if you have a property manager, your name is supposed to be on the lease. That's the law. Because you can't like leave your tenant in a, roach infested environmental hazard. You just can't do that. So I'm not sure why you would want to own investment property in a land trust when you have to put your name on the lease anyway. But think of it this way. If you hold the title...
That brings up a good question, though, because, maybe we need some more clarification on that point, because, you have these large hedge funds that, own like 1,000 units, right? And then these Wall Street guys just kind of buy into it and then purchase. Like, all 1,000 of those people are not listed on the ownership, right? It's one company as an LLC that owns it. We saw these big companies buying up thousands of properties in Tampa, right? These high-rise condo complexes that they turned into apartments. Donald Trump's name is not there. It's just an LLC name, I would think.
Yes, and I suppose if an LLC, I guess if a hedge fund owned a property, they would put the hedge fund manager contact information. But you do have to have contact information for the owner on the lease. In most states, that's the law. So, but, your name will be hidden from title when you buy something inside of a land trust. So the title will be in the name of the land trust, and the trustee is this dude who's giving you a seminar on it, right? Let's say he's like a greasy guy called Edward. Okay. Edward, who does
the greasy seminar guy.
The land trust seminar guy. So he's going around trying to sell people on the idea of a land trust. He gives seminars and he talks about how you want your privacy, right? But we talked about in another episode, when there's any kind of issue with title, right? Let's say that so-and-so left this building to their nephew never knew about it, and then they actually did have a claim to the property. Somehow down the road there's been a gap in title and you own it, or someone else is making claim to it, right? This kind of thing happens all the time. It will go to court, and the court will look at what's called muniments of title. It means like artifacts.
Monuments.
It's muniments. It's MUNIMENT.
Oh, okay.
Muniments.
What's a monument?
I don't know. Sounds like a salad dressing.
I think I've heard it on like some legal shows recently when we've been talking about all the FBI investigation. Emoluments clause? What's the emoluments clause? In Congress? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, sorry to derail you.
I have no idea.
I don't like to interrupt you.
Right. Okay. So, monuments are any kind of like data. It's artifacts. It's like a document, a death certificate, a marriage certificate, a deed of trust, right? So they're going to go through the monuments if there's any kind of quibble over who owns this title. And if your name is nowhere in any of the monuments, that's bad news, right? You want to make a claim to a property that you own, I would think, right? Unless you're buying it for nefarious reasons. But for the most part, you want your claim to that title and to that deed to be crystal clear. But let's say that anyway, you decided to sort of consider a land trust, right? Let's say you take title in a land trust. The beneficiary is you, an individual, right? A sole proprietor. So I'm buying into a land trust. The land trust is buying into some property. The beneficiary is not an LLC, but just me, Natalie Morris, the lady. The consequence is there's no asset protection at all. Somebody falls, they can get ownership of that. That's an attack number 1 that happens on the property. Attack number 1 is something that has to do with the investment. Attack number 2, something that has nothing to do with the investment. Someone sues me for something completely different, right? Like I punched someone at Great America. I don't know. Then they sue me. Right? Like, you can get sued for attacking people.
If you go to Great America, you'd want to punch somebody, right?
Right. I actually have seen that happen. That's why it popped into my head. Is 2 ladies.
Yeah.
Their strollers hit each other, and they just started, like, punching each other. So, like, if I got in a fist fight with somebody, and then that, like, I hurt somebody really badly, and now I'm liable for their injuries, they can sue me for everything I have, including what's in the land trust. Okay? So there's no protection there at all. It's just protecting, it would just be harder for them to find out that I own it, but like you pull the thread, you eventually can get to what's inside the land trust. Now, if you take title in a land trust and the beneficiary is you as an LLC, your LLC, then the consequences is that there is asset protection inside of the LLC, right? So I can get in a fight with someone at Great America. It doesn't protect I'm not liable for whatever is held inside the LLC, right?
Right. So, I mean, bottom line, it's the asset protection and the personal liability that's at risk with a land trust by having the property in a land trust and something happens.
Right.
Slips
Well,
and
it
falls.
depends, right? I could become the beneficiary of the land trust inside my LLC.
Okay.
Right. So I buy an LLC. I open an LLC rather, and I open a land trust, and I set the LLC as the beneficiary of the land trust. Well, then I am protected within the LLC. Right. But now I'm paying for two services, the land trust, which is usually a yearly fee, and the LLC, which also has a yearly filing fee as well. So these are now two different things, right? And so people who sell you the land trust will say, well, this is cheaper. You can maintain the land trust with me and not have to have an LLC. But you're not protected if you're the beneficiary as a sole proprietorship. Right?
Right. Because as a sole proprietor, as you know, and if you've listened to our show for any length of time, that's no bueno. Like, you do not want to be a sole proprietor. How does Tom Wheelwright describe sole proprietors?
He says, we use this sort of initialism, is that someday you'll lose everything.
Someday you'll lose everything. Sole proprietorship. Yeah, so do not put properties in your own name. There's no reason to. I had that very question on one of our live shows, people asking us that question, and there's no reason to. There's absolutely no reason to do that.
Right, okay. But let's say you ditch this whole idea of the land trust. Right, and you just set up an LLC. Well, then the owner is you as an individual, and your consequence is that you're protected, your assets are protected only within what is in that LLC, right? So if I punch out someone at Great America and hurt them, which I'm capable of doing,
right?
Just so you know, because these guns
you're scrappy.
Are like a weapon, right?
That's right.
Then that person cannot sue me for what is inside of the LLC. That's protected, right? We're protected from attack number 2. You're not protected from attack number 1, something that happens inside the building or something that has to do with that investment, right? That investment, something happens there, that's an attack number 1. I'm liable for whatever is inside that LLC, right? So an LLC protects you from things that land trusts don't, but also they give you this claim to title as well. And so, there are all these people that buy into land trusts thinking like, oh, I'm good. I don't need really expensive insurance because no one would ever be able to find me. And that's absolutely not true. They will find you, and then you're liable to everything that you've got. Even if you take an LLC as your beneficiary inside the land trust, well, then you're just paying for two different products that kind of conflict, right?
So even having like umbrella insurance over top of a land trust, would that protect you in this way? Or still that would just be an idiot move? Like, you should, umbrella insurance is great, but just get the LLC, because then you're limiting your liability.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I would say the other thing. Because yes, I guess you could get an umbrella policy, but there's always gaps in an umbrella policy. Like, they could say, for bodily injury, you only, they'll pay for over and above this much on an attack number 2, right? But you can do some real damage with your fists, and you go above that amount of bodily injury, right? So then, again, if that happened, I would be liable as a sole proprietorship all the way through what's owned in my land trust, right?
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. So I guess I hadn't really thought of it that way. I mean, I guess it seems like it's an antiquated idea. I don't know why you would want it. I mean, I guess, like I said before, trying to hide something, if you're Walt Disney, right, and you're trying to buy up Orange Grove so everyone doesn't panic and try to charge you through the nose for these dilapidated orange groves suddenly because they're like, oh, Walt Disney's buying up orange groves? Guess what? I'm not going to sell it for, $10,000. I'm going to sell it for $100,000. It's Walt Disney. He's got deep pockets. I can't think of does he talk about...
Right, but Walt Disney could have... Not really. I mean, I guess if you are in a state where your LLC filing fees are high, then you could find a land trust to maintain your ownership for cheaper. So, Edward, the sort of greasy real estate seminar land trustee, is telling you, oh, I'll hold your property for only $500 a year, and you can put several pieces of land in here, pieces of property. It's not necessarily for land. The name is kind of confusing because you can own buildings in the land trust. And so the way it's set up is that one person as a trustee agrees to hold the title of the property of another person for their benefit, right? So it's just like, I've designated Edward to hold title for me, but I'm the beneficiary. So you're hiding yourself basically, and you're really only hiding from title. Because then, when something happens, then Edward's going to come find you and be like, no, I didn't do it. Like, sue him. Right. He owns it. I'm just holding the title for him.
Right. Yeah, they're going to be able to go after it anyway. And it doesn't really matter. So, savvy attorneys are going to go after it. No, that's fascinating. So that answers that question. I've long wondered if that's a smart play, if that's a smart move. And there are people who sort of, I think they believe that that's the case. But you're just biding your time until you lose everything. You really increase your exposure over a whole wide array of areas that people can come after you. So it's not worth it.
Right.
So,
and they may also convince you, well, it's cheaper because it's cheaper than the filing fees of the LLC. And then you don't need that much insurance. But in fact, the opposite is true.
How much is a filing fee for an LLC?
It depends on the state. In California, it can be a minimum of $800 a year,
yeah.
And more if you make over $250,000 a year. Then it's going to be more expensive. So California is a really expensive place. So I can see why Californians might think, well, I'd rather pay $500 a month for someone to maintain the land trust, and then I can put several properties inside of that land trust,
right.
And then I can not have very expensive insurance because I'm protected. But you're not at all protected, you're just invisible. And so you're unprotected in terms of insurance, but you're also unprotected in terms of any kind of claim to title, right? Because there's no monuments with your name now.
Right.
So I would love to hear some people tell us why they do this, because in all of my research, I cannot find a reason to do it. But
we'll do a
we're
follow-up
open to your comments.
Yeah, so in the comments thread, if you're, please just leave us some nice detailed comments on why you chose to do a land trust, why you think it is beneficial, why you like it. But from what I can tell from the attorneys that we've talked to and who are real estate attorneys, this is a bad move. So please explain why you think this is a good move. I'd love to hear it, and we'll do a follow-up episode on this very topic. I'm fascinated by it.
Now, you can fix it, right? You can deed the title out of the land trust to your LLC. You can do that, right? It's not like if you've done it so far, then it's not a forever mistake. You can fix it, but I would definitely talk to an attorney about it.
And that's the bottom line. We are not attorneys. We're just real estate investors who seek the advice and counsel of really smart people like Garrett Sutton and other people who, handle our taxes and setting up all of this stuff for us. So, but Robert Kiyosaki uses Garrett Sutton, one of the smartest real estate attorneys in the country. So, hey, he's written a book on it, and you can check it out. The Loopholes of Real Estate. He dives deep into that, as well as some other great books as well. So again, please leave your comments in the thread below. We publish this show multiple times per week. Please share it, subscribe, leave us a kind review. Any final thoughts?
If you already have Loopholes of Real Estate and you want to read up more about this, read chapter 22. I think it goes into that really well. Chapter 22
of Loopholes of Real Estate by Garrett Sutton. We'll have a link to that in the show notes as well, in the description below, so you can check that out as well. All right. Thank you so much, my love. You're a genius as always.
You're welcome.
I learned a lot, and I hope you did as well at home. I hope you guys learned a lot. We'll be back here with another episode of the Investing in Real Estate show. Now go out there, take action, become a real estate investor. Just don't buy it in a land trust. Buy it in an LLC. We'll see you next time, everyone.